Our home, nestled in the upscale neighborhood of Chestnut Hill on the outskirts of Boston, is always adorned with festive Christmas decorations this time of year. As usual, a grand fir tree stands majestically by the living room window, with twinkling ornaments and lights enveloping the entire room in a warm glow. I'm Margaret Taylor, 62 years old. My husband Robert and I have lived in this house for over 40 years. Robert is a former executive of a major pharmaceutical company, now enjoying his retirement. We've long been involved in community activities and charitable work, but lately, we've been spending much of our time looking after our grandson, Oliver. Oliver is our only grandchild, who turned 3 this year. He was born with vitiligo, a condition that causes white patches to appear on his face and body. While we were initially taken aback, now the whole family has come to accept and cherish it as part of Oliver's unique character. Our son, Brian, works as an engineer at a major IT company. It seems he's inherited my passion and sense of responsibility for work. His wife, Amanda, on the other hand, is active as a social media influencer. Her glamorous lifestyle and strong focus on appearances sometimes clash with our family values. Today is Christmas Eve, and we're planning to enjoy dinner with the whole family. Robert and I have been busy with preparations since morning. We lay out the tablecloth, set the silver cutlery, and place red and green candles to create a Christmas ambience. Margaret, I wonder if the turkey turned out well this year? Robert asks with a hint of worry. Don't worry, it's much better than last year. And the cranberry sauce you bought is perfect, I reassure him. Truth be told, last year's Christmas dinner had a slightly tense atmosphere. Amanda seemed hesitant to hold Oliver, apparently concerned about his vitiligo. Since then, Brian and Amanda's visits have become less frequent, and I feel like there's been a small rift in our family bond. This year, I'm hoping we can all spend a joyful time together. Especially for Oliver, I want to create warm Christmas memories at his grandparents' house. Around 3 p.m., the doorbell rings. They're here, Robert, I call out, and Robert emerges from the living room as we head to the front door together. As we open the door, there stand Brian, Amanda, and Oliver. Oliver is wearing a bright red sweater, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Merry Christmas, we all exclaim in unison. Amanda is decked out in a flashy designer coat, her makeup impeccable. Brian, in contrast, is dressed in his usual casual jeans and sweater. Grandma, where are the presents? Oliver asks eagerly. Aren't you impatient? Santa hasn't come yet, sweetie, I answered gently. The whole family gathers in the living room, sipping hot chocolate by the fireplace and catching up. Amanda enthusiastically discusses the latest social media trends, while Brian reports on the success of his new project. I hold Oliver on my lap, stroking his soft hair while listening to the family conversation. It seems the white patches on Oliver's skin have increased slightly. But his innocent smile remains unchanged, warming my heart. Hey, everyone, Robert speaks up. I've arranged a special dinner for tonight. I've made a reservation at the best restaurant in Boston. Wow, that's amazing. Amanda's eyes light up. Where is it? It's Mo. In Beacon Hill, Robert answers. That place is so hard to get a reservation. Brian exclaims in surprise. I feel a bit worried. Dining at a high-end restaurant is wonderful, but it might be a bit too adult an environment for 3-year-old Oliver. Still, it's been a while since we've all dined out together. It should make for a lovely memory. Well then, let's get ready, I say. The reservation is for 7 o'clock. As everyone starts to prepare, our Christmas Eve in Boston begins to unfold. I sincerely hope this special night will be an opportunity to strengthen our family bonds. The streets of Boston were gleaming with Christmas decorations. As our car arrived in Beacon Hill, 19th-century street lamps cast a warm glow on the snow-covered red brick buildings lining the cobblestone streets. As we got out of the car in front of Moo Restaurant, the cold winter air caressed our cheeks. It's chilly, Robert said as he lifted Oliver into his arms. Oliver's cheeks, with their white patches, were slightly red from the cold, but his eyes sparkled with excitement. As we entered the restaurant, we were greeted by chic decor and warm lighting. A waiter politely guided us to our table, where a small vase with a festive red poinsettia was placed. Wow, this place is amazing! Brian exclaimed in admiration. Amanda took out her smartphone and started taking photos of the interior. My followers are going to love this, she said happily. We took our seats and opened the menus. Oliver sat next to me, looking around with curiosity. Oliver, what would you like to eat? I asked gently, but Amanda interjected. Oh, Margaret. You shouldn't let Oliver choose for himself. We should order from the kids' menu for him. I felt a bit confused but replied, well, yes, but I'd like to hear his opinion too. Oliver cheerfully said, steak. Oh, what a good boy, I said, while Amanda rolled her eyes. When the waiter came to take our order, Amanda said, chicken nuggets from the kids' menu for Oliver. He won't understand complex flavors anyway. I felt a bit worried but remained silent to avoid conflict. As the food was served, the table was filled with delicious aromas. The adults enjoyed wine and lively conversation. However, I was concerned about Amanda's attitude. She was almost ignoring Oliver, engrossed in her smartphone. Amanda, it's fine to take photos, but I hope you'll enjoy this family time, I gently suggested, to which she frowned. I'm sorry, Margaret. But this is my job. My followers want to know everything about my life. Brian put his hand on Amanda's shoulder and said, it's okay to take a break, honey, but she just shook her head. As the meal progressed, Oliver started to get a bit restless. He fidgeted in his chair, occasionally letting out small sounds of discontent. Oliver, behave yourself, Amanda said in a stern voice. Don't embarrass us in such a fancy restaurant. I tried to soothe Oliver, but Amanda's cold attitude was hurting my heart. By dessert time, Oliver looked exhausted and was almost falling asleep in my arms. Shall we head home? Robert suggested. Everyone agreed, and we got into the car to return home. Upon arriving home, Oliver seemed to regain some energy and rushed to the presents placed under the Christmas tree. "Not yet, Oliver," Brian said gently. "Santa comes after everyone's asleep, remember?" We gathered around the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and sharing Christmas memories. However, Amanda still wouldn't take her eyes off her smartphone. "Hey, everyone," she suddenly exclaimed. "My latest post just hit 100,000 likes." We offered words of congratulation, but inwardly, we felt a bit uncomfortable. Amidst this, Oliver whispered, "Grandma, I need to pee." "All right, let's go," I answered, taking him to the bathroom. When we returned, the atmosphere in the living room had changed. Amanda was standing up, clearly angry and glaring at Oliver. "What happened?" I asked, and Brian answered with a sigh. Oliver accidentally spilled cocoa on Amanda's smartphone. As I moved to embrace Oliver, Amanda shouted, "This child is such a nuisance. Ruining my expensive smartphone." And then, suddenly, Amanda grabbed a nearby bag of dog treats and threw its contents at Oliver. "Here, eat these. You're as dirty as a dog." I gasped. Oliver, frightened, hid behind me and started crying. "Amanda!" Robert shouted. "How could you?" Brian also said, "Amanda, calm down," but she wouldn't listen. "Look at his skin. It's like he's sick. I can't include a child like this in my perfect family photos." The room fell into a frozen silence. I held Oliver tightly, stroking his back, trying to control myself as I trembled with shock and anger. Robert stood up and slowly approached Amanda. His expression was stern, with anger burning in his eyes. "Amanda," he said in a low voice, "there's something I need to tell you." At that moment, the atmosphere in the room completely changed. We all held our breath, waiting for Robert's next words. Robert's voice resonated low but strong. The air in the room was tense, and we all listened intently to his words. "Amanda, your behavior is unacceptable," Robert said in a stern tone. "Oliver is our precious grandson. Regardless of his skin condition, we love him unconditionally." Amanda started to open her mouth, but Robert raised his hand to stop her. "I'm not finished," he continued. "You seem to know nothing about vitiligo. Actually," Robert slowly rolled up his sleeve. There, white patches similar to Oliver's appeared on his skin. "I have vitiligo too." The room fell into complete silence. Brian stood with his mouth agape in surprise, while Amanda stood stock still with her eyes wide open. "Dad," Brian managed to say. "Why didn't you ever?" "I didn't think there was any need to hide it," Robert answered calmly. "But after seeing what happened today, I felt it was time to speak up." I stood next to Robert and held his hand. I felt a warmth in my chest at his courageous confession. "Vitiligo can be hereditary," Robert continued. "That's probably why it appeared in Oliver. But this is nothing to be ashamed of. Rather, it's our special mark. Oliver leaned out from my arms, looking at Robert's arm with curious eyes. "Grandpa, you're the same as me?" he asked in a small voice. "That's right, Oliver," Robert smiled gently. "We're special." At this moment, I felt our family bond take on a new meaning. But Robert wasn't done speaking yet. "And there's one more important matter to discuss," he said with a serious expression. "About our inheritance." Brian and Amanda leaned forward. I could see Amanda's eyes particularly shining. "We've been thinking about this for a long time," Robert continued. "And we've decided. We're going to leave all of our assets to Oliver." "What?" Brian exclaimed in surprise. "But Dad." "Brian, you and Amanda are already successful," Robert said quietly. "But Oliver might need special support. We've decided this is best for his future." Amanda's face turned pale. "But that's unfair," she cried out. "Unfair, you say?" Robert's voice rose slightly. "Your actions are what's unfair. Especially yours, Amanda." Robert took out his smartphone from his pocket and opened the screen. "Look at this," he said. As he held out the smartphone, we could see Amanda's social media post displayed. Along with a photo of Oliver, there was text mocking his skin condition. "Oh my!" I couldn't help but exclaim. "Amanda, you posted photos of Oliver without permission and insulted him," Robert said sternly. "This isn't just a family matter. It could become a legal issue." Amanda stood speechless. Brian grabbed her arm and said in a trembling voice, "Amanda, is this true?" Amanda nodded slightly and began to cry. I just wanted to increase my followers," she said in a shaky voice. "You'd hurt your own family for followers?" Brian asked harshly. The room fell into silence again. Amanda was sobbing, and Brian looked stunned. As I held Oliver close, I watched with mixed feelings of anxiety and hope about how this situation would unfold. Robert let out a deep sigh and slowly sat down. "We're family," he said quietly. "Even in difficult times, we should support and love each other. Amanda, your actions are unforgivable. However, if you truly regret them and are willing to change." Amanda looked up, her tear-stained eyes fixed on Robert. "We're prepared to forgive you," Robert continued. "But there are conditions. You must delete all inappropriate posts on social media and officially apologize for Oliver and his condition. And from now on, you must accept Oliver as a true member of the family and love him." Brian put his hand on Amanda's shoulder and looked at her. "We have a chance here. Let's do the right thing." Amanda was silent for a while, but eventually nodded slowly. I'm truly sorry," she said in a small voice. "Oliver, Grandma, Grandpa, and Brian, I apologize to everyone. I will change." Hearing these words, I felt the atmosphere in the room soften a bit. However, we don't know yet if this is the beginning of real change or just a temporary apology. We'll need to carefully watch how the events of this night will affect our family going forward. A year has passed since that unforgettable Christmas Eve. Once again, our entire family has gathered in this house, enjoying a peaceful time sipping hot cocoa in front of the fireplace. Outside the window, snow is quietly piling up, while the warm light from the Christmas tree spreads throughout the living room. As I look around at my family, I reflect on the changes we've seen over the past year. Amanda has truly changed. She continues her social media activities, but the content is vastly different. Now, her posts focus on promoting diversity and the importance of kindness, lovingly showcasing Oliver's growth. The response from her followers to her honest approach has been overwhelmingly positive. Brian, too, has reassessed his work-life balance and now cherishes his time with Oliver. On weekends, they often visit the Boston Children's Museum or the New England Aquarium as a family. And Oliver? He's now 4 years old and even more active and curious than before. His skin condition remains unchanged, but he doesn't seem to mind it at all. In fact, he proudly calls it my starry sky. Grandma, look. Oliver excitedly brings me a picture book. I drew this. Opening the book, I see colorful stars drawn all over the pages. Among these stars are smiling children with white patched skin, playing happily. That's wonderful, Oliver, I say, deeply moved. It's a beautiful drawing. Robert smiles and pats Oliver's head. Your imagination is truly amazing, son. Amanda sits next to Oliver and gently hugs him. Can I share this picture book on my social media? I think many people will be touched by it. Oliver nods happily. Yes. I want everyone to see it. Seeing this scene, it's hard to believe what happened that day a year ago. I realize that our family bond has grown stronger after overcoming that trial. Brian stands up, taking a glass in his hand. Everyone, let's make a toast. This past year, we've learned and grown so much. Let's continue to be a family that understands and supports each other. Cheers, we all say in unison. After placing down our glasses, I quietly say, thank you for showing such wonderful changes this past year. I believe our family's life will be richer from now on. Robert takes my hand and smiles gently at me. It's all thanks to you, Margaret. Your love and patience have guided this family. Tears well up in my eyes. At this moment, I feel truly happy. Outside the window, the snow is falling harder, spreading a white world. This pure white landscape seems to be blessing our new beginning. There will surely be challenges ahead. But we're not afraid anymore. We believe that with love, understanding, and respect for each other, we can overcome any difficulty. Oliver's smile, Amanda and Brian's growth, and Robert's unchanging love. All of these are the treasures of my life. As I gaze at the red poinsettia pot placed by the snow-covered window, I